for fertility and giving birth to a baby, this channel is like the spirit coming in and being housed here for 9 months and then getting ready for giving birth to a baby. But it has other connotations: conception from mind into reality, a thought into manifestation, a feeling into communication. So how do we take this formless energy and bring it into physical form? So this conception vessel was about that. It's called the sea of yin energy. Yin signifying our internal energy. Yin has to do with sleep, rest and relaxation, restoration, replenishing. It has to do more with your being rather than your doing. And so that's why it's going downward in this path. It's calm your mind, relax into the present moment. The belly center has to do with being present and grounded as well. So those are very healing principles to an out of balance society where doing is emphasized and thinking is overly active. So this is going to be a remedy to modern life stress, this moving the energy down. Then we hold this position. That is yin tong right there at your mid-eye. That is called the Hall of Impression. That's the name of the point. The Hall of Impression. That's where you perceive life. And we know that what we perceive starts to become reality. What you believe starts to become reality. Where you put your attention, energy gravitates towards and then manifests. So we were talking about designing your mind. When you design your mind, you design your life. So this point is very important into the perception we have in our minds, what we're thinking about. And what we're thinking about is like a lens. We start to notice things in life. Have you ever noticed that? If you went shopping for a yellow Volkswagen Bug, afterwards you see them everywhere, right? All of a sudden, oh, my perception, my field, my lens, you start to see. If you're pregnant, all of a sudden you see pregnant women everywhere. If you have a baby, all of a sudden there's all the babies. Where were they before? They were there, we just didn't perceive it. So our perceptions, it's very interesting. The science of perception is very interesting. Very interesting. What we perceive and what comes in through our filter of our imaginations and what actually gets into our minds is a lens. We only take in about 1/billionth of the energy that's in the environment at any one given time. So the Hall of Impressions, we're expanding our perceptions and lining our perceptions up to what we want to create. That's the mid-eye. Has to do with your pineal gland. Very interesting part of our anatomy. A pineal gland has crystals in it. It's fascinating that when the energy goes through these crystals, it starts to coalesce and become a transducer, like a radio set is a transducer of the frequencies in the room. And when you have the right transducer, the frequency turns into information. And that's what we want. We want the information of your mind to be picking up the signal of positive energy and lined up to the energy that you want. That's what we talked about earlier. This point is really important for that. So we have yin tong. We come down to the throat center. CV22 is right in the notch here. If you feel the bone, you feel your collarbone come into your sternal notch. It's just above that. It's in the soft part. Funny enough, here's how you acupuncture needle this. You put the needle in, you bring it up, and you slide it right down the sternum about that deep. Don't try that at home. Don't try that at home, okay? Don't go get the sewing needles, but that's how we needle that point. Now you're in acupuncture school and the teacher says to do it. That was a rough day in acupuncture school because it's scary to do that. This actually doesn't hurt very much, but you put a needle in and then you slide it down this way because you don't want to go straight back. And all of a sudden you feel this warm energy through your throat, and it's quite an interesting sensation. This one does the same thing. So it's a little easier than putting a needle there. So these are same as the acupuncture points, and we're stimulating those acupuncture points, but in an invisible needle kind of way. We're holding the energy of our hands. We charge up the hands, the point gets stimulated just like a needle or just like pressure. CV22, the throat center, the center of communication. CV17, the heart center, right in the center of your sternum. It's at your sternum. It's in the fourth intercostal space. So fourth rib. How do you find that? The collarbone, you feel your collarbone really close to the collarbone. If you come down, is the first rib. It's very close. There's a space there. That's the first intercostal space. And you feel your first rib and your second rib. That's in between that second intercostal space. You feel the third rib underneath that. And then you go to the fourth rib underneath that. That's the center of the sternum. I mean, that's CV17. Otherwise, it's just basically very center, halfway between the top and the bottom is your heart center. That's the center of the heart. CV12. I might have said CV15. I'm remembering. It's CV12. CV15 is this point here at the sternal notch, and the navel is CV8. Halfway between those is CV12. And it's called the middle burner. We refer to it as the solar plexus. Has a lot to do with how we digest emotional energy right here. It's also referred to as the yellow court, which in Chinese, the yellow court was the place where the officials of the kingdom gathered to talk about the problems of the empire. So what this means is that all your energy, the things in your head, the emotions in your body, the things that you experience in life, they kind of mix here. And so the officials that make up the kingdom of you kind of discuss problems here. That's why the solar plexus gets tight with emotional stress. So it's a very important area for digestion and food digestion, but also how do we digest experiences. Otherwise, we're going to get emotional indigestion. The stress just stays with us. This point's open. It's easy for us to let go of the negative. So really good point. CV8 is your navel. So when we were here like this upper hand was at CV8. That's the last point of the upper hand. The lower hand is below the navel. It's at CV4 area. CV4 and CV6 are the points right below the navel. They have to do with the sea of chi, this abundant well of energy. And so that's this lower hand at CV4, and the upper hand ends at CV8, right about your navel, so like this. And those are the points that we're going to use along this front channel. Now, what about the chakras? People ask, what about the chakras, right? So the chakras, there's the sixth chakra, there's the fifth chakra, there's the fourth chakra. So they do relate to the chakras. These points are more on the surface, forward. The chakras are actually on a different meridian line called the thrusting channel in the very center of the body. And we work with that meridian in a different practice. So that answers the what about the chakras. Remember, chakras are Ayurvedic, Indian yoga tradition. We're working on Chinese medicine tradition, and they're going to look similar. They're going to look similar because we're talking about the energy body. And like anatomy, energy anatomy is complex as well. It mirrors our physical anatomy. And so different cultures describe the energy body in similar but different ways, and emphasizing different aspects of that energy body